Namaste, India. My name is Preeti Chaudhary, and you are live with me for an edition of LinkedIn Local India third anniversary celebration gala. We have our guest on the other side of the stream. It is none other than my dear friend Amit Gupta of InMobi, ex InMobi, and currently Yulu, doing something really important for the climate and for the next generation. So let's get this conversation started by getting Amit into the stream first and foremost. Good evening, Amit. A very good day to have you on board with us today because we are celebrating the third year anniversary of LinkedIn Local India. And what better topic than to talk about e mobility, cleaner, greener solutions. And it is over to you, my friend, because you have been doing some amazing first mile and last mile work. But before that, once again, a warm welcome. How are you today, Amit?
A very good evening, Preeti. I'm very excited to be with you today. And I must congratulate you throughout the day. You have been maintaining this high energy. Incredible job which you have done for this event. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. And let's get the conversation started. Amit, just before we sort of dive deeper, I would like to understand the context of why Yulu, why clean energy, why green energy, why something in mobility. I'm sure there are stories, and I know for a fact that there are stories and pain points behind us, all of it. But for the benefit of the audience, let's hear it from you once again, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Preeti. So I'm actually gonna use presentation so that I can
Mm-hmm.
run you through the thesis, why what we are
Sure.
doing.
Sure.
So are you able to see my screen right now?
Um, yes, I can now. Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. So I want to take you to the journey of mobility and not talking about bullet carts, but certainly if you talk about mobility 30, 40 years ago, it actually meant our own personal vehicle. It has been car for US, Europe, but for countries like India, it's primarily two-wheeler. And then Uber, Ola, Lyft, Didi came. They started making this mobility as a service a norm. And thanks to the smartphone, everyone who has a smartphone can click a button and a taxi will come and drop you. So mobility, which was only self-driven, started becoming shared and smart. At the same time, we also saw that that kind of mobility did not solve some big problems, or rather, they added the problem. And this is a very common scene in Indian cities where you see so many four-wheelers out there. And unfortunately, in our India, a lot of population and not too much of road space. And if you look inside any vehicle, typically you will see one or two people. So it's very inefficient use of the space what we have got. More than that, our air quality has been deteriorating, with vehicle actually producing almost 40% of the air pollution. Now we actually are also adding a big problem for that and for the environment. And we are talking about global warming, no matter how many people may into a denial mode, but we know for sure this is a real problem, and certainly we need to do something about it. And while even from a pandemic situation, we have been making movies, making web series on Netflix. Uh, we never had this pandemic kind of situation, and you know how we were stranded with respect to mobility. So what I believe that if you talk about the new world order for mobility, it actually can be defined with this 5S framework. So not only it needs to be shared and smart, which was led by Uber, Ola, Didi, etc., but at the same time, it also needs to be sustainable. We cannot keep on emitting those very harmful uh, gas and making the environment bad and air quality bad. And also, we don't have space in the road, so the form factor has to be smaller. That's a much more practical choice for countries like India. And last but not the least, even for pandemic, which we are seeing, and God knows if we have to we have to face something again. So our mobility also need to be having some answer for that as well. And if we are able to figure out a solution, then we will be a much happier planet for sure, where everyone can be just happy and they can just move around without any problem. And 3 years ago, when I started my journey with Yulu, and we started speaking about that, hey, we need to do something about it. Clearly, what shared mobility promise was and what it is doing and what it should be doing, there is a disconnect. And clearly, for countries like India, it is not going to work. At the same time, not many people believed in story. They said, this is actually a daydream. Yes, I go to many countries and I have seen people riding these bicycles, and you know what? They have these docking station, and you're you're actually forgetting, my friend, that they have a great weather, and India does not have anything of this nature. And when you are talking about bringing this 5S of mobility, looks like a daydream, and it's not going to happen in our lifetime for sure. And in a sense, if you step back, and they were actually true, we don't see all of this. At the same time, a bunch of us believe that this problem is so big, and there's something needs to be done. And that's where our entrepreneur within ourselves started thinking that, what can be a solution for this. And as we say that every complex problem needs a simple solution, and we started working towards that. And just a interesting fact that Yulu actually means simple in one of the Chinese language. So our name itself stands for simplicity and figuring out some solution to this massive complex problem. And that's how our journey started. January 2018, we actually ended up designing this bicycle, which is a smart bicycle, which had an IoT, and we put it in some places in Bangalore. And to our pleasant surprise, many people started using it. At the same time, the distance which people were using it was only 2 kilometer, and our solution set, actually we wanted to cover for 5 kilometer use case. And that's where we thought that while we cannot change the weather, we do not have control in the weather, but maybe we can put some kind of power to this vehicle. And that's how the thought of electric mobility came into picture. Even there, we had two choices. We had choice of using a petrol scooter, which is very common in India, and we could have basically deployed them without any challenge. But we thought that it's not going to be good, because we will be shifting problem from one pocket to another. Because petrol is going to continue harm the environment. It's not a good part from our side. And that's where we thought that, okay, let us actually do something about electric mobility. But back then, electric mobility was also not an easy choice. Reason being that there was no OEM who was making any vehicle suitable for shared mobility. There was no battery specification design for India. There was no charging infrastructure. So Yulu actually ended up building all of that. So unlike many other companies in the country who probably took some kind of shortcut, we actually took a harder path, which was very pure, with a very, very pure intent, that we need to tick all of the boxes when we look at the vision of mobility. And we need to come up with a solution which actually is simple and obvious for the mass, and they can use it on a daily basis. So we ended up building this purpose built vehicle. We created this Yulu zones, which is our preferred parking areas. So rather than taking a irresponsible path of letting users just drop it anywhere, we said we will create this kind of infrastructure in the country. So good part is we have across India, we are right now live in 4 cities. We have built close to 3,000 such Yulu zones, and half of them, actually 1,800 of them, are in Bangalore now. And we have been getting a good support from policy side, from the city authorities. We have built this charging station network, which is catering to Yulu service, etc. And we are very proud that we have been able to build this rounds up without any fear. Uh, we are also have been very, very fortunate to get a lot of support from top leaders across the country. So wherever we have launched our service, we were personally welcomed by the head of the state, which is Chief Minister. So be it Gujarat or Karnataka or Maharashtra, we actually have been very, very lucky to have their support. And I think if you step back, even these guys want their state, their cities to be sustainable. So we became a natural partner for them as well. We also have a very big partnership with Delhi Metro, Bombay Metro, and Bangalore Metro, and we are providing the last mile and first mile connectivity to these services. And people ask that, what happened to Yulu and our service with related to Corona. So Corona actually has been a very, very huge event for us. While we were shut down for almost 2 months, the moment we were allowed to start our service, we saw very quick week of recovery. In fact, Yulu ended up becoming a preferred mode for transportation of mobility for people in the cities where we are moving. And the reason was that they all were worried about their own personal safety. And when they saw Yulu is the only, there's only one which I'm going to write that product, and there's no risk of getting contaminated with a co-passenger or a driver. And that actually led a huge surge in our usage. And to make things better, our team actually started sanitizing this vehicle at least once in 24 hours with a WHO certified chemical. And we were showing the timestamp of the last sanitized action by my ground staff to the end user, bringing the entire transparency. And to make things better, even cities have been promoting the whole policy around this infrastructure for mobility, where there's a dedicated bike lanes being put up. So very soon you will see, especially the work is going on. It's going to inaugurate maybe next few weeks around CBD area, where you will see dedicated bike lanes being done. And in these bike lanes, you can take your bicycle, e-bicycle, and even our Yulu Miracle scooter, e-scooter, which is also legally a bicycle because it is a low speed. And we think that this is going to be transformational for the city, where people can now get into their own bicycles, e-bike, etc., without any fear. And this will increase the penetration and the importance of shared sustainable mobility in our country. We actually are now India's largest shared electric mobility, and in a if you look at the numbers are actually not very large. They're very, very small number. So what we have got is 10,000 electric vehicles and 8,000 pedal bicycles, and we have made a huge impact on the environment already. And we are very proud that a company of our size and scale, and what we have been able to do has been starting to make an impact. More than that, we've been able to inspire the country that the promise of electric mobility is not a far-fetched dream. One can make it happen. If you look at the Google trend, it is a huge uplift in the people looking for bicycle, e-bicycle. There's a very, very good trend line. In fact, I have been told by my friends in the US that there's a waiting period of almost 9 months to 12 months if you need to buy an e-bike. And this is all basically led by pandemic. And after a long time, people started believing that, okay, the air is clean, and you are now seeing a lot of people having a fun and leisure rides. And while gyms were closed, people were using bicycles just for the fitness purpose as well. And last but not the least, many people started jumping on these bikes and e-bikes, etc., even for commute purpose. So this is what we saw the positive part, from COVID. I know there were several challenges. A lot of people lost their livelihood, but there are a lot of things which were also positive. And in a sense, from a mobility perspective, small is the new big. It's actually not just India, but across the globe, people are actually moving to small form factors, which is actually positively impacting the the situation on the global warming and the air pollution. So, be it New York or Paris or London, everyone is now jumping on these small form factors which are sustainable in nature. And what we actually want to do is we see that there's a there's a huge value what we are doing. This is kind of our city where there's some braveheart who are starting using Yulu, and and at
Amit, can't hear you. Amit, your mic has gone muted. Can't hear you. Sorry. Amit, could you please help me unmute your mic? Your mic has gone mute. I can't hear you. Amit, your mic has gone muted. Could you please help me unmute it? Amit, your mic had gone muted. I'm so sorry. I couldn't hear the last bit of what you were saying. Your mic muted.
Hello.
There you are. Yeah, there you are.
Preeti, can
Your
you hear me
mic went
now?
mute when the. I can hear you now. Your mic went mute when, as when the video was playing. You know, it was showing a graphic of a Yulu bike going onto the road, and we couldn't catch you after that. So if you want to go back to that and repeat what you were saying,
Hello.
that will be helpful. Thank you. I can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you, Amit. I can hear you.
Preeti, I can't hear you.
Okay, hang on a minute. Just one moment, please. I think there seems to be some technical glitch. Can you hear me now, Amit?
Yes, I
Can you
can.
hear me?
I can hear
Brilliant.
you. Thank you.
Sorry, there just seems to be some technical glitch, which is okay, never mind. But what I was saying was, when the video was running, where there was this graphic of a little man or woman getting onto their bikes and going forward, that is when we lost you. So if you would like to repeat from then on, it'll be really helpful for the audience to understand what you were saying right in the end over there. What is the dream? That's where we
Cer-
stopped.
Certainly, sir. I'll try to play that again. So,
Mhm.
it is while this city, lot of cars and lot of honking and lot of bad air pollution, we started this journey with some of the folks really trying to adopt to a sustainable mobility, and then more and more people are getting inspired. We started seeing the places becoming greener, cars disappearing. People start to use metro buses for their commute, and then they complement their commute using Yulu type of service. And we believe that if many people start to do that, we will have a much cleaner cities which are sustainable, and we will be thanking, or planet rather will be thanking us that we basically have now to a much more sustainable state than what we are right now. That was the point I was making.
Absolutely, Amit, and thank you for that. You know, there's a couple of questions that sort of come to my mind now. India seems to be emerging as one of those resurgent places where we are taking our sustainability really seriously, and proof enough is in the pudding, wherein now we have Tesla coming into India in your city, and that only fosters more collaboration and more avenues and opportunities. What are your thoughts on that? How is that
No,
going to
no,
change the business scenario, the environmental scenario, and all the rest of it?
yeah, no, no, clearly you need some big events, and I think Tesla is certainly one big phenomena where they have made car a supercar, and no one even have a second doubt that they why they should not convert to electric mobility. And this is how something has inspired everyone. United States, for example, was very skeptical of getting to electric mobility, but now with Tesla, everyone is like, okay, I ought to be on this product. Same thing happened 10 years ago. I would say that smartphone revolution was not led by Nokia or Motorola. It was led by Apple, who put up an iPhone and everyone wanted to buy that product, and that made mobile internet so big. Same thing is done by now Tesla, Elon Musk, where everyone will be saying, okay, I need to be electric, and nothing else. From a Yulu's perspective, I believe that India is not a car country. Our car ownership is so low. So if we need to transform mobility in India, it has to be led by two-wheeler, and that's where Yulu is actually trying to make sure that we create a version of mobility which is so easy, so sustainable, so affordable that a common person to anyone for that matter, and from age to gender, it cuts across every section of society. And we create a solution where people are not worrying about their mobility anymore. They know there is a Yulu service for them wherever, whatever use case they have got.
Brilliant, absolutely right. And that brings me to another question. Amit, what has been your personal learning and growth over the last 10, 12 months? And have there been any major plus points or pain points wherein you have seen yourself either grow as a person or maybe take a step back? Why I'm trying to ask you this is because there might be lessons for the audience that is tuned in today here in that journey of yours as to how maybe people can have a couple of takeaways from your journey. Would you like to share
Yeah,
some of that with us, please?
certainly. And mine is a little bit exceptional case because I have gone through one more journey with InMobi. So where I've seen that hardships are part of entrepreneurship. Even with InMobi, we had almost some three states where things were not all right, but we survived as a company. We came stronger as a team. Same thing happened with Yulu. With Corona, as I was telling you that we had to shut down our business, and with a lot of uncertainty. We did not know what time or what period people will be coming back, and what time unlocks this lockdown will be opened up again. But because of the InMobi experience, we knew that okay, this is what you need to do. So first thing first, making sure that everyone is safe in the company. So we did whatever precaution measure we had to take. We also made sure that no one was let go. So everyone basically had a job, and we made sure that whatever we can cut, so that our oxygen is actually is helping us to prolong the company and not die. We don't basically want to run out of cash. So we did whatever we could have done to increase the runway by not touching even a single person, and that actually helped us a lot because when we were not working from office, but team were working from home, so we did several innovation, and team actually did not stop innovating. So during Corona time, we ended up understanding how delivery business works. So our vehicles started being used for big basket and for medical or medicine delivery and food delivery and whatnot. We also tinkered with an idea of long-term rental, and team were just working things, hacking things day in day out. In a matter of a few weeks, they were able to create these solutions. And once the lockdowns were relaxed, we came back to our normal business of A to B mobility, and we saw that how new SOPs were introduced of safety, and even there we rebound pretty fast. So I think the big learning was that if there's a clarity what you are doing and you really believe in that vision, then you don't take shortcut. And that's what actually we are very proud of, that we were able to keep the team together, keep the morale up, even when the times were not easy. They were very, very tough. But we knew that the moment things will be a little bit better, then we will be rebounding very fast. So those conviction help us in not taking some shortcuts and taking some drastic steps, which would have been a disaster for the company in the long run.
Absolutely, with sort of crisis comes a little bit of cerebral thinking as well. Last but not the least, Amit, any piece of advice or tips and tricks for the people out here or the audience out here in terms of what to sort of build towards, what to look for? 2020 is gone, 2021 is here and beyond. So it's all about maybe hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Anything that you can leave them with as a takeaway? Over to you. Thank you.
Certainly, I think if there are a lot of hardship we as a humanity faced in 2020, but one thing for sure, each one of us had once in a lifetime opportunity to go through this hardship, and I think as a mankind we are stronger and better for sure. Each one of us know that we can take these kind of challenges which we never signed up for, and I think we also started understanding the value of technology much more than what it used to be. And I know that a lot of your audiences they have interest in technology. The fact that we are doing this virtually also is a good signal. My request and my sincere advice and request go to you. to all of the audience watching this episode is to think about really, really big problems. And Fortunately, India has a lot of them. And pick those problems, solve that using technology, because that's the only way we can create a solution for scale and for countries like India. And if you are able to come up with a solution for big problems, I think our country will be very, very different. And this is our chance. We understand technology. Good part is hundreds of millions of people are having their computer or a supercomputer in their hand in the form of mobile, which is always connected. And we just need to put ourselves. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen quickly. Put yourself for 5 to 10 years, commit yourself, and as I said, improve the quality of your fellow countrymen, and also help the overall planet look better with your contributions.
So essentially, you're saying leave the planet better than you found it when you came on. So
Absolutely.
that is absolutely spot on. Thank you. So with that, we have come to an end of this discussion. Thank you, Amit, for those amazing insights. It is all about refuse, reuse, recycle, and sort of sustainability. That is the call of the hour. Stellar job done by Yulu. All the very best from us. And with your permission, trying to close this conversation now with a huge round of applause and thanks to the audience. Thanks to
Thank
you
you.
once again.
Thank you.
This is me, Preeti Chaudhary, signing off from the final session of LinkedIn Local India's third year anniversary celebration with my guest, my dear friend Amit Gupta. Both of us saying our byes. Take good care. Be safe. Thank you, Amit.
Bye bye.